So uh, we're gonna be lighting some. We're gonna light this scene. Um, and it's all dependent on various parameters, like in your mind, of how something works. I usually don't prefer to work um, without some kind of mentality or idea about the scene. So there's this overcast in the narrative and the story of Frequency Watchers of the moon, and it casting a certain blue. No one knows where the blue rays coming from, but it's this overarching mystery of the story. So we are pushing forward in this, and I'm gonna go and I'm renaming the scene, and then now I'm going to focus in a little bit more on the lighting, and then I'll even go ahead and speed this up just a tad to make it a little easier even to I'm gonna speed this up. How much is this? Okay. So I'm gonna begin lighting this scene here. This is, of course, a video sped up, and this is a scene with Elijah, the main character in Frequency Watchers, in the house with the main villain Bird. And in the story, there's a blue overcast around the world at nighttime. A lot of people don't really know where it comes from. It's part of the mystery of the story. And so he's meeting with Bird because there is a sick patient, call them patients, that is located inside of a tub inside of the scene, and they put them inside the tub with ice to slow up what they call the changing. And so that's Bird. And so I decided that because this is one of the first times you see her, that it's important to introduce her with the warmth and the light on her face as such. And then for Elijah, we keep the blue moonlight mystery lit on him, mainly because you see him later in a scene where it's more of a close-up. So I try to keep that in mind, even with modular and procedural gameplay, that this still is not the main scene for him. So in other words, we can call that a scene about her. And because it's about her, it's better that she represents the warmth in the scene, because it's from her perspective, essentially. And so we'll put a couple of different lights in there. The backlight that's lighting the green wall behind her. Wanted to accentuate the green because she has actual hazel eyes, but it's really, green and hazel go together really well. And inside of this narrative, she's challenging Elijah to understand the changing in a different way, and that it's maybe possible that it's a good thing. So there's a conflict in that scene because, of course, as a watcher, his job is to intervene and stop any kind of alien resonance or frequencies that are challenging the peace of living as a human being on Earth. And so we'll light this. We're gonna again keep him blue, and the blue for him, I like to think about what it what it represents beforehand, even though it's like, okay, well, it's coming from outside, but I could easily also put a flat light above him. But I wanted to keep that feeling of just being blue. And so the sadness of blue and this kind of thing. I actually once read a book where it was, I think it's called The Sound of Blue or The Feeling of Blue. And it's about just that mentality of feeling lonely and isolated. And so as a watcher, of course, we're trying to correspond it properly. A watcher is indeed a lonely soul on earth, in the midst of people who have very independent opinions on alien residents who live currently on earth. In this scene, when it gets a little bit, when it gets brighter, this is the ending of the scene in a way where the brightness is more representing highlighting and kind of making you notice the subtle details that are going on around them, and that things are not exactly as they may seem, especially with the intentions of birds. So I like to play with the idea of the animated light where it changes slightly, and that way you have that varying tone in a scene. And especially because I try to modulate the lighting in a way where it's easier directing it and putting it into play, and then using that tonal range to represent whatever you're trying to say. So I have a particular way of doing things with that, but and here, we're adding some warmth back into the scene, just kind of playing it back and forth. And what I'm doing in the background here is I'm taking notes on the rate of the light and the rotation of the light and the different brightness of the light and my obsidian notes there. And I'm doing that so that way I have a modulated range to play with. That way, when the scene replays, it not only can replay from a slightly different camera, but it's able to modulate the lighting according to maybe player input, or how many times they took this route, or how many times they pressed this button, or something like that. That way the player feels like, and as close as we can get to reality, that they had a say in the story. So we'll stop this one here.